And here we go.
So yeah.
So Oracle of Seasons, probably my personal favorite Zelda game that like no one knows about. Common misconception that Oracle of Seasons and Ages are like a Pokemon Red and Blue thing, which is not the case. They're completely different games, completely different dungeons. They do use the same engine and mechanics.
It's really awesome. You can actually link the two games together to get a combined storyline.
Yeah, and
It's
some
really
people have run
awesome.
that category.
Yeah. But this is Oracle of Seasons only this time. Any percent? About a 2-hour run if nothing big goes wrong. So yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Start of the game is pretty slow actually. You first have to go through the introduction of introducing the final boss in this game, which is this tornado. And the tornado takes away Din, the Oracle of Seasons, and your goal is to save Din. So yeah. There you see his actual form. He's a knight.
One of not really his actual form. Spoilers.
Whoa! How dare you? So yeah.
I didn't say anything.
It's kind of like a Mario storyline. The princess is taken captured, and you have to go into different castles to save her.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's really funny actually. What you also notice is that the game is actually in Japanese, because Japanese is the fastest version for this game because of all the
and
text.
not really because of
through.
text.
Really?
Save and quits are faster, and there is like one glitch that's faster.
Oh yeah, there's a small glitch in one of the mini bosses, which is pretty neat. The only thing is the final boss fight is a little bit harder in Japanese, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So yeah, here we have the first introductory dungeon in order to get a special item later. It introduces you to bits, pushing blocks, and it's basically all movements, making sure you move optimally, save those few frames that you can.
And we're going to be abusing save and quit a lot during this run to get back to the start of a dungeon and not have to backtrack.
Yeah. You actually select the save and continue screen option and then reset the game, because that saves a few frames. So every time you save and quit, you try to do that in order to save, like, what is it, 5 frames or something, maybe 10. It's pretty substantial over the run. So yeah, you've got the sword now. The sword is awesome.
Sword's a good item.
Typical Zelda sword. You can kill stuff with it, which is awesome.
And we got good RNG here. Whenever you enter Horon Village, which is where we are now, it rolls a random season on the RNG. And if you get winter, there can be piles of snow in the way, which makes walking to places you need to go take longer.
Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, here you have Mghtymth. Mghtymth is like the common helper, I guess, in Oracle of Ages and Seasons. In Ages, it's a lady tree, and in Seasons, it's a man tree.
Yep, still called the Mghtymth though, in both. No one knows why.
So yeah, he gives you the key to the dungeon, so you can now actually go back to where you spawned, and the dungeon is right next to that, so it's not that far.
and it's like a tiny bit faster to hold your sword out instead of slashing again.
It's
Does it save like
tiny.
frames?
Oh wow, I never knew that.
I
Awesome.
think that's what it is, but like don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure. So these rooms are pretty RNG, depending on where the Stolfos spawn.
Yeah, it's really about optimal movement, making sure you kill all the Stolfos in the correct order, so you can leave the room as fast as possible.
Tampa, how much faster is it?
Oh, you got boomeranged. Wow.
Mingo, you're
that
there.
RNG. Let's hope he doesn't lose any more health, because he's gonna need it for a few damage boosts later.
You get bombs. This is the only dungeon in the game where you get 2 items instead of just 1. Actually, in one dungeon you get 0 items, so...
So yeah, luckily he found a hard drop, so that's gonna help him out, really, in this section. With the blade traps, instead of waiting around, waiting for them to walk back, you can just take the damage and move along. Because there's a convenient ferry right there in the bush before the mini-boss. So let's hope he gets a good cycle. That was a good fight, yeah. He got the double hit off.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Especially the double hit on the bomb really helped, because the bombs deal 2 damage while the sword only deals 1. So getting that double hit off means he only had to do 4 extra slashes next to that. It's much harder than it looks.
It is much harder than it looks. I don't... probably gotten it once. Ideally you get the double hit and then he walks into the corner and you can just slash him while he stands in place.
So yeah, and after the mini-boss we found the seed satchel, and luckily for us it actually has ember seeds in it already. Which allows us to get to this room with the 3 moblins.
And you'll notice that Mighty used an ember seed to kill the Zol there instead of a sword, because you don't have to go through the sword standing still animation.
So yeah, he's gonna attempt an RNG manipulation now. Jangler, you worked on this, right? You made it.
I was watching your stream and I said, wouldn't it be nice if we had an RNG manip? And yeah, then I developed the first part, but you and I and Z-Master all do it differently, so...
Yeah. But yeah, RNG is a pretty static value actually, it doesn't change that much. So we use it to manipulate this entire section up until Dungeon 2. So the only things that actually change RNG is sword slashes, for example, enemy movement when enemies
screen transitions,
turn, and screen transitions. So the thing is, the entire section up until the start of Dungeon 2, up until the bracelet, is gonna be RNG manipulated. So if he keeps his movement correct and doesn't change his RNG too much, he should be knowing what's coming up until that point. So let's hope he actually gets it all the way through.
So the first thing that we did the manipulation for is that boss Aquamentus. If you get bad RNG on him, he will charge into a wall and then fly in the air, and you can't hit him for a while. And you can do that 2 times if you get really bad luck, and it wastes more than 10 seconds. So that's a major reason for doing the manipulation.
It looks like he's on the good seat. He got fall in town, so that's a good start.
And this dog also rolls RNG, so you need to travel through that quickly. And mob movements roll RNG. Okay, he's on the good seed.
Yep. So the second section where we want to use this RNG is for Rosa section, because for every screen you have to go through here, there are 2 different patterns, and of course we want to use the fast pattern on each screen. So you see some random sword slashes in between in order to roll the RNG a little bit further to get the correct pattern after that. And also in these screens there's a rupee manipulation included to get 2 times 5 rupees from the signs we burn. And that gives us 10 rupees in order to do something else later in the game. So yeah, this is the first visit to Subrosia. I guess you can call it the underground world. Subrosia is really interesting.
There's the overworld and the underworld, which are... it's not like Link to the Past where they're similar to each other. They're completely different, but they are the same size.
Subrosia is way smaller, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the map is way smaller.
Never mind.
It looks bigger than it is because of all the different areas, but it's definitely smaller. Alright, we got the Rod of Seasons. This game's key item, I suppose you can call it. Problem is it doesn't really do much yet. It needs to be blessed by the spirits. By the... what are they called?
Yeah, season spirits.
Okay, yeah.
So the first item we skip is the boomerang, which I think you're intended to get to hit that switch, but you can just throw a bomb at it.
Yeah, it's really neat. It skips the Subrosian dancing, which takes a while. I think it saves like a minute. It's really neat. So yeah, the RNG manipulation is still going on, so he's gonna have to... he's trying to go through that saving quit menu at the start decently, and then the credit screen he skips that as fast as possible, because the credits actually advance the RNG every frame. So he needs to be careful with that, and I believe he got a pretty good credit screen, so he should be fine. So yeah, once he leaves, Subrosia is gonna fix his RNG in order to get on a consistent seed for the next section. We got a hard drop. I'm not sure a hard drop might be too far. I'm not sure actually. Oh yeah, you got it. Nice. It's a really peculiar thing. Once you change the season, if you have your rod on B or A, it actually gives you a different enemy pattern on that screen.
We were really so confused about this. It only happens on that screen specifically.
Yeah. But luckily, it doesn't really matter that much. It gives you the same RNG anyways if you go through the screen optimally. So yeah, the shovel is really nice. It digs up stuff, allows you to dig up items.
So this section is called Moblin Road, and it can be absolutely terrible, but we're RNG manipulating it, so it's just about perfect.
Yeah, it's really good. What you also see right there is that he uses a menu on the transition in order to skip the fade-in animation when you transition screens. So that saves a few frames every time you can do that. So sometimes you'll see a menu earlier than you would expect. in order to make a use of that. So yeah, this is the final section of the RNG manipulation. Let's hope he completes it all the way, because he's on a good pace right now. Yeah, it looks good. So you RNG manipulate this room so you can get these two moblins with a single bomb, which is such a time saver.
Yeah, it's pretty cool they got the whole manipulation, because it's really finicky. If you mess one thing up, it can just screw you over for the rest of it.
That moblin is such a big. We haven't RNG manipulated that. Oh yeah, you can be on the way.
The reason we haven't manipulated it is because we would need to do a hard reset, which would be slower.
Luckily, you got the RNG manipulation, which gives you an extra bomb drop. Otherwise, missing that first bomb is really costly.
This room is on a timer, but it doesn't matter because we do it really fast.
It's a speed run. It never disappears. If it disappears, that's a shame. That's such a shame on you.
Keys being jerks. Stable of any Zelda.
Nice dodge there. So yeah, from this point onwards, it's just trying to keep your health count high so you don't get close to dying. Ooh, nice hard drop. So yeah, before the RNG manipulation, we had a backup rupee chest, which was in this room, all the way at on the side. But we don't need it anymore with the RNG manipulation now, which is really neat. Oh, the keys.
So this upcoming boss has a bug in it, only in the Japanese version, where you can defeat him before he even spawns.
Yes, hitbox is already on the screen. You don't have to spawn the mini-boss in order to hit him. Well, you have to do that on... I don't remember, does it not spawn in the English version, or does it...
You can't hit it until it spawns.
Yeah, okay. So you have to spawn it by moving to the bottom half of the room. Ooh. And luckily he has enough bombs, so that's not too big of an issue. Ooh,
oh.
Now he's low on health. There aren't that many health refills, you just have to hope enemies would drop hearts if you need them.
There you go.
Nice. Commentator blessing. So yeah, up next is the Dango King fight, which is a really straightforward fight in the speedrun actually. His pattern is fixed. You know exactly what he's gonna do and when he's gonna do it, so there's not much that can go wrong. You might miss a bomb, and that's gonna cost you an extra cycle, but that's...
The only optimization we do here, which Mighty isn't actually doing this time, is that you can minimize the amount of time he spends charging by standing very close to a wall. but it doesn't save that much time.
There are different strats people do for that. People sometimes keep him in the top right corner.
And yeah,
others
as
people
Tompa
just
says
bring him
in chat,
down.
it's the only Dodongo in the game. So.
Dimitri is a Dodongo.
Oh, is he?
Gosh, what is he? What else is he?
Yeah, I guess you're right. He's a Dodongo.
Except he doesn't eat bombs. But yeah. No health ring minute.
So, for those of you who have no clue what we're talking about, Dimitri's an animal partner, the last animal partner, or no, second to last animal partner. We'll get in the game. There are 3 of them, and you need him to cross water before you get flippers to swim with.
Yeah, it's actually in this section where you can, quote unquote, choose your partner, depending on how you obtain your flutes.
So Mighty visited that screen and then just left it to make it accessible as a warp point later in the game.
Yeah, it's really nice. If you forget that, it's gonna cost you a little bit of time. You have to visit that screen later on. Or suffer the walk of shame from the other trees. So yeah, up next is the mini game, I guess you can call it, where we need the 10 rupees for, which is in this dojo, where we have Blano, and Blano is a champ. Let's see how good this fight goes, if he can make it. Ooh,
Great fight.
Punch. Great, that's awesome. You want to punch, that's really neat.
One time, Mighty, and I don't know anyone else who's gotten this, but Blano did a Shoryuken on him. We've never seen it anywhere else.
So yeah, because we don't actually get the flute from the shop or from this Ambrosian dancing, we'll actually get the flute from Ricky, the kangaroo, which allows Ricky to be our spirit animal, I guess you can call it. Ricky's movement is pretty neat. He hops around, and you want to time your hops nicely so you don't have to hop extra times. And he can jump off these ledges, which is like the only reason we need him at until after some other stuff.
So these are Pegasus seeds that we just got. We're going to be using these a lot because they make you run 50% faster than you normally do.
Speedrun seeds, yeah. So yeah, this is a nice little sequence here, giving you an introduction to the Pegasus seeds. In like a little quest to drain the lake or swamp, whatever you want to call it. I'm not really sure how the top part is called. The bottom one is the swamp, but I think the top one shares that.
Yeah, I think it's all Spool Swamp.
Oh, you flood the swamp. Never mind, you don't drain it, you flood it. That makes more sense.
And we changed the season here so that we can walk on the ice since Link can't swim yet.
You don't actually have to change it to winter in order to get to the dungeon, but setting it to winter allows you access to a place a bit further south, which you can't access otherwise, and you have to do that to get a certain item, which You'll get shortly. Ooh, nice punch.
Nice.
That's sexy. Saves like a half a second or something. So you don't have to... Yeah, it depends on how well you do it, obviously. But normally you want to use Ricky's tornado attack in order to break those pushes. But
Yeah, sadly we might not get to see the tornado attack.
Yeah, that's the cave I was talking about. That's only accessible during winter. Because then the trees thin out so you can walk past. And it gets you a jewel which you need to get to dungeon... Ooh, a fairy. To get to dungeon 6. That fairy is gonna bless his dicks. I can already feel it.
So, this is a brutal part of the game if you're playing it casually.
Yeah.
You need to get that star ore, and it can be anywhere on this beach as far as you know, so you just have to dig up every hole. But in reality, there are only 4 places where it can be, so you know which ones to check as a speedrunner.
Yeah, we know better. Buy the ribbon, man. You need it.
Subrosians have a very materialistic culture. If you give a ribbon to Rosa, she will go on a date with you. And she has a key that unlocks doors you need to go through.
It's a really neat key. Too bad we can't, like, take it from her and use it in the dungeons, because that would be amazing.
Yeah, they actually say her key can open anything, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, kill Rosa, take the key.
Yeah. It's the master key from original Legend of Zelda, I guess. She took it. So yeah, with that key we get access to the second season spirit of summer. And we actually need that to get to the next dungeon. So yeah, talking about Pegasus seeds also, you have a limited amount of them. So seed management is actually a pretty big thing in this run. So you definitely want to make sure to choose when to use your seeds and when to not use them, in order to get the most optimal use out of them.
And sometimes you do get random seed drops, which lets you spam seeds as much as you want usually.
Yeah, that's really nice. They are rare, but once they happen, it's amazing. Oh my, that's so good. I love it.
That's good.
I can't even do it. That's so good.
Yeah, Mighty's so good at it with the setup. So here's Dungeon 3, everyone's least favorite dungeon.
And here we see the true use of the shovel. The shovel is actually a devastating weapon. And it allows you to flip the spiked beetles. It's really overpowered. They should ban it or fix it.
So I think usually you would use a shield to bump them and turn them over, but since like-likes can eat your shield, they don't want you to soft lock, so you can use the shovel too.
But yeah, the shield costs money, so we skip that.
So in this room you can do manipulation to force these hands to spawn in a place where they can't grab you, but it's pretty tough and doesn't save that much time, and if you fail it, you get sent back to the beginning of the dungeon.
But it's so cool. Once you get it, it feels so good. But yeah, if you make one misstep, you spawn the wall master in the wrong spot and you can get grabbed easily, which is really sketchy.
Yeah, what Tampa says. Sometimes if you throw the pot at one of the floor masters, it can get damage boosted toward you and grab you.
Yeah. The thing is, you need 3 hits to kill a floor master, and the pot only deals 2, so unfortunately it survives.
And the reason for throwing the pot in the first place is you have to throw it anyway, and it does twice as much damage as the sword does. Which makes me wonder why you even use a sword in the first place and not just a pot.
Because pots are tricky.
I mean, that should be Link's main item, a pot.
Right, the most awesome item in the game. The rock feather. Allows you to jump, which is awesome. Ooh, that's a lot of them.
Yeah, I need those safety hearts.
Nice. That pot is a fixed heart, so that's really nice to grab that once you get low on health. Because next up is an underground section, actually. Is that the... No, that's not the first one. We already saw a few.
It's the first one with like platforming.
Yeah.
The first one in Dungeon 1 was a throwback to the first Zelda game, where the places where you got items they looked just like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of references back to the original Zelda in this game. It's originally based on the original Legend of Zelda, so it's a lot of references. A lot of the bosses are also from the original Zelda, Legend of Zelda. They are remade, so it's really neat.
So one thing you saw Mighty do there was jumping after slashing the sword, which cancels the animation, or lets you move while doing the animation.
Nice, you got the jump. So yeah, I missed the first... Ooh!
Oh no.
And this is the room why you grab extra hearts. Because it's terrible with all the keys in it.
Luckily, you get more fixed hearts before the mini-boss.
The floor masters can also wall masters. The floor masters. I keep forgetting if they're floor masters or wall masters. I think
They're floor masters because they come out of the floor.
Yeah, exactly. The floor masters drop a lot of hearts usually, so that's really nice. In this case, they all drop hearts, which is amazing. It's really good RNG. Yeah, so here we have the Omuai, the 3 squids, I guess. It's a really neat fight. Should be pretty simple. You just have to pick them up so they are vulnerable and then finish them off with a few sword slashes. So yeah, easy to recycle there.
I think the TAS actually does a 1 cycle. It's really cool.
It's really cool. So sexy to see that. But yeah, in RTA, that's really crazy if you can do that.
You can do a 2 cycle if you're feeling very bold.
Yeah. So yeah, that was his last seed, and it's right before the boss of this dungeon, which is Mophila. Mophila fight is really... with full health it's pretty easy, you can just tank the damage. But once you're a little bit lower health, it's gonna be really tricky to avoid the damage. And he's got a clean fight there, nice 1 cycle. If you
And
are
if
a
you
little
get
bit
knocked
too
into one of the pits, you have to start the fight again from the beginning.
Yeah. So if you are a little bit slower, then he spawns a second attack, which could be another butterfly, 4 butterflies, or whatever they are called. Or a fireball pin, I guess you can call it. Which can knock you back into the pits, which is really scary. So you want to kill him before that actually happens. So with the feather, you can also jump over stairs, so you don't get slowed down while walking over them, which is really neat. I wish more games had that.
Yeah, for some reason you can't do it in LEDX.
Lame.
It's like the one thing in this game that I can think of as being like broken physics-wise that isn't in LEDX.
So yeah, up next is the animal companion area. This area is changes depending on which animal companion you have. So in case of Ricky, it's it's an area full of hills and yeah, climbable ledges that you need Ricky for to traverse.
I know Leafeon, or maybe Z-Master, or maybe both, looked at
Tornado.
which animal companion is fastest to do this with, and it's not Ricky. But
Yeah,
it's just faster to get Ricky than to get a flute for another animal.
exactly. You also see that he's... Oh, that jump. That's... Okay, you got it second try. He's also trying to kill a lot of the boss blobs, the cube mans, because they have a high rate of dropping seeds. So if he gets a Pegasus seed, that's gonna help him out really during the next section. And unfortunately, he did not get one. So he's gonna have to do an alternate seed route in order to make up for that. It's pretty common to get a seed there, so he just got unlucky. So yeah, this is Sunken City, and it has a beautiful tree there with gill seeds. And gill seeds are really nice, because they let you warp to a different tree that you have seen in this game. They are our warps in this game to traverse the overworld quickly. And this is the Dodongo, yeah.
And you can also use them to like one-hit kill some enemies by just flying them off the screen, but it only works on some of them.
This is the other Dodongo in the game, Dimitri. He's really nice, he can swim. He doesn't eat bombs, unfortunately, but it's better for us, I guess. So yeah, with Dimitri you can actually get to these caves, because Dimitri can actually swim up waterfalls.
But the item we got was flippers, so now we can swim and we never have to use Dimitri again.
Unfortunately, yes, that's true. taking a nice damage boost there in order to boost himself forward a little bit. So yeah, now we're up the mountains, and there's a neat little portal here, which leads back to Sprosia. And that feather that we just got, yeah, unfortunately it gets stolen. So we're kind of stuck in this place until we get that back. So we need to play a stupid little mini game.
Yeah, we've tried to find ways to work around it, but nothing.
There will be a way. There are so many ways to get into this area once you sequence break a little thing. It's so close. It's gotta be somewhere.
Yeah, it's so close. I know you tried the boomerang to get your item back. Do you know if that's actually possible? I mean, in theory, if you could get close enough.
But yeah, this hide-and-seek minigame is fixed. The patterns are always the same, so shouldn't be a problem to avoid it. If you're low on health, you can also dig in this area, but there's also fire pokies that you can dig up, which is kind of annoying, so
And they're
generally you don't...
a lot more common than hearts, so...
Yeah, exactly. It's not worth it.
So we call this hide and seek because if these guys look directly at you, you get caught and you have to start over from the beginning.
Always get scared when you walk to the right too much before entering the screen, because you might get caught. But he didn't get caught, so that's good. Random rock pickup? Not actually random. That's one of the rocks that doesn't spawn back into the game. Oh my god, he got the jump.
He got the jump.
What
That
the
one's so
hell?
hard.
That one is impossible. Oh, that's so cool. That jump has such a peculiar timing, it's crazy. I don't even go for it, that's crazy. Those are tight jumps without seats. It's really nice that he gets them. So yeah, up next is a little sequence break. He's gonna, instead of walking around to the other side, he's gonna grab the cuckoo from the left side by clipping into the top wall a little bit. It's a neat little time saver.
Yeah, we just found it a few months ago too.
Yeah. Fortunately, if you do it when it's not spring, you kind of get stuck there, so you need to save and quit out. Because the banana on the palm tree doesn't spawn in any other season except for spring.
So here he's slashing bushes because kids in the flooded city took your bombs and you need bombs for the next dungeon. There you go.
Nice, and the hard drop. That Tektite loves that piece of heart so much. He's stuck to it. So yeah, in spring you have these flowers that you can jump on in order to get up ledges. It allows us... Ooh, that's nice. Allows us to get to that area up top. Set our saving quit point for when we get this section done. To get to the Dungeon 4 key. The Dragon key. Which is no problem once you have Moosh. It's awesome. So yeah, here is actually the entrance to Dungeon 4, but it's unfortunately blocked by a waterfall, so we have to clear that first before we can enter. Oh, missed the jump unfortunately.
And he got bad luck with the Zol spawns.
Yeah. Once you miss the jump, the Zols can get in your way really quickly. So it's really unfortunate if you miss it. If you miss it, then you're gonna have a tough time there. That mash though, awesome. So yeah, I guess this waterfall is also a pretty big reference to Link's Awakening with Dungeon 4 also. Yeah, I don't blame him for grabbing those hearts. Those are fixed hearts. He took a lot of damage on the way to the top of the mountain, so...
And Dungeon 4 can be pretty brutal.
Yep. You can sometimes try to go for a death warp halfway instead of a save and quit, but it's really tricky with 1.5 hearts. There are so many things that can ruin your day.
And now we have the least interesting puzzle in the game.
It's the best puzzle. I love pot shoving. It's amazing. Just look at it. It's so cool.
And the tiny optimization here is to start pushing one pot while the other's already sliding. I guess it adds up.
Yeah, it definitely adds up. That Soul is trying so hard, but he's just not fast enough. If he gets a bad spawn, then he has to kill it or try to move it out of the way, which is really tough. So luckily you didn't get trolled by that.
The Zol can actually spawn right on top of the statue that you need to push, so there's nothing you can do at that point.
Ooh, hard drop.
So, fun fact about these, there's a bug in the game, or if you jump on the same frame as you land on the moving platforms, the vertically moving ones, you jump straight up in the air and probably fall in the spikes.
Nice little platforming there, using a C to get some neat little jumps in to get to the key faster. It's really cool.
Yeah, that room feels good to do, right?
Yeah. Ooh, nice. Nice dodge on the spikes there, not taking any damage. So yeah, he has a lot of health, so that should not be a problem. This room can be really fast or really slow. Oh, you missed the key.
If you catch the key while it's falling, you skip the text that says you got the key.
Yeah, it's really
And-
nice.
And the other thing that can be fast in that room is if enemies spawn near the water, you can slash them once and they'll fall in and die instantly.
Luckily, there are a few extra packs of seeds nearby, which is really neat for the rest of the dungeon. Minecarts are fun. I like the minecart rides.
I think a lot of Seasons owners like Seasons more than Ages. But if you stick around for the Ages run later in the marathon, you'll get to hear one of the commentators say nasty things about Seasons.
Wow, that's mean. So yeah, this is Mghtymth. Egg and implode, I guess. It's really neat. You just have to look at the shadow of the three projections, I guess you would call them, and see which one is the real one, so you can actually get hits in. And it's really simple once you get it, so that's really nice. So now we got the slingshot, and the slingshot is awesome because it lets you fire seeds, mystical seeds, at stuff. Instead of having to drop them from your seed satchel, you can actually shoot them at stuff. And this is why minecarts are cool, because you can actually do stuff while in them. So yeah, we trigger the 3 torches to spawn a chest there, and then we pick it up later. So we save and quit in order to save a little bit of time. Nice, no keys in the way. If one of those keys are in the way, it's gonna be really tricky to still hit the switch, and you have to traverse back.
So that was the safe platforming strat for that room. You can try to jump directly onto the final platform, but it's really tight. And the keys can get in your way, of course.
Especially the keys.
So this is the first time we'll be seeing Gale Seeds used as an offensive weapon.
If you get a really good time, you can actually shoot 2 wrist ropes in one cycle, but it's really tight and it really depends on the positioning of them. So you can't always go for it, because the wrist ropes just don't allow it.
You can also jump over this pit, but sometimes you just want to save hearts for the boss.
It's a tricky jump. That's all I gotta say about it. It's definitely tricky.
When I
And
do it,
goes
I do
on.
the damage boost with the Wizrobe attack, but then you lose health.
That's also an option. But this
So-
is the Goma fights.
You can actually soft block in this fight. We're not really sure why. But if Goma grabs you, you can just get stuck, and you can't die, you can't do anything. You're just stuck.
Getting really good hits off there.
Yeah, Flying Link.
Normally you would want to hit this claw with the sword 10 times in order to break it off and have access to the eye. But that makes it really RNG when he opens his eyes. So instead we opt to shoot past the claw straight into his eyes, which takes 15 shots. So that's why we grab Scent Seeds. That's the only reason I believe we actually grab Scent Seeds, so we have enough seeds for that boss. And
Yeah, you technically don't need them. You did a run once where you forgot Scent Seeds, and you were still okay.
Yeah, you can actually do it. You're just gonna be low on Ember Seeds, so you're gonna need a random drop somewhere. So here's another jewel. It's really convenient to pick it up right now, instead of on the way to Dungeon 6, because then we have to climb the mountain again. And it's such a long climb, so it's really convenient to grab that. So yeah, that's also the way kill seeds work on the overworld map. You can actually warp to the different trees and grab a seed refill on the way for the next dungeon, which is really convenient. I'm back to Sprosia again. It's an awfully common place we have to go to, unfortunately. Only we had a sequence break. So yeah, with that bomb flower, that allowed us access to another Season Spirit's cave or temple in order to get the last season we need. Because as everyone knows, there are only 4 seasons, so yeah, it's pretty common knowledge, I guess. I hope.
In some places, there are only 2 seasons: wet season, dry season.
Wow. You blow my mind.
Not this game.
That would be pretty funny.
So the deal with autumn is that, I guess it's 2 things. I guess leaves cover pits, and stone mushrooms that you can't normally pick up turn into regular mushrooms. I don't know what that has to do with autumn, but that's what happens.
I guess they are cursed. Turn to stone, except when it's autumn. A lot of the runs in Subrosia are pretty lackluster. You just go grab an item to go to the temple, and then you get your season and go back. It's not that much happening. So yeah, unfortunately you can't actually choose the season you want, you have to actually cycle through them. So you have to use your rod 3 times on that stump in order to get to autumn. Luckily the mushrooms drop hearts pretty frequently, which is really convenient at the start of this dungeon. And it has more minecarts, which is awesome. I love minecarts.
So trivia, you can actually hurt Stalfos with the Rod of Ages. You can't, or not Rod of Ages, Seasons. Wrong game.
The Garb of Seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the few enemies that can actually be hit with the Rod of Seasons. Might even be the only one. Pretty sure if there's another one.
I think it's just Stalfos and the variants like Shrouded Stalfos.
Yeah.
So now we got the Magnet Glove, which we can use to pull ourselves toward and away magnets.
Best
And
sound
pull magnets
effects.
toward and away up. Yeah.
And you can also use it in minecarts, so that's
Yes.
the best part.
You can make beautiful music in the minecarts.
Yep.
Nice hard drop.
Yeah, this dungeon can be pretty rough on health. A lot of things deal a lot of damage. And it's scary sometimes. Especially in this room, the armors deal 1 art of damage.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not really
confusing.
sure. I think it was bottom first. Since the sword slashes from top left to bottom right. But it's really close. No. No, damn.
So the deal is you have to open the chests in the same order that you kill the Armo statues. And Mighty got unlucky and happened to kill a couple of them.
But it's a sea drop. That it makes up for it.
Optimally, each seed you use can save 4 seconds, so getting 4 seeds is not too bad. Or I think it's 5 seeds for a
Yeah,
drop.
it's 5. I think the trees give you 6 per, but
Yep.
any drops give you 5. Oh, he jumped too early there. It's really interesting that on some of these bits you can actually pit walk. How many frames is it? 30 or 60? It's quite a
It's a
long
while.
time. You can, yeah. And it allows you to skip waiting another cycle for the block to turn around. It's really neat. It doesn't work on all pits though, which is really annoying, especially in Dungeon 7 where it would be really useful. It won't work there, or at least not as easily as it would otherwise. So yeah, we got a lot of keys already. 3 keys, that's a lot of keys. But I guess that's not enough, so we need another key. It's like the most keys you get in this run at the same time.
Yeah. We skipped 2 keys total. 1 in D6. Do we skip something in D7? Oh, I guess we skip
a
stuff
lot
in D8 now. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, nice. The tail spawned on the left side. That allows him to get before itself on the first cycle.
So, Saiger, which this boss is, has a lot of different patterns, and some of them are slower and faster. So,
Yeah.
you got relatively good ones.
He needs 8 hits, so if you can get 4 spin slash and 2 hits off on the first cycle, you can actually get a 3 cycle off which is really nice.
So you're supposed to pull a magnet ball in front of those flamethrowers to stop the fire, but we just tank the damage.
Jump over them. Really nice. It skips the worst room in this game, arguably.
Yeah, it skips about three rooms that you walk through.
But one of
them is particularly bad.
It's a horror. It's awful game mechanics in that room all over. It's terrible. So I'm glad we skipped it.
I hate this room.
Yeah, that jump is tight. Oh man.
There.
Especially with the keys in the way, they can be really trolly sometimes. So this is Dig Dogger. In the speedrun, it's pretty neat once you figure out how to control the ball and stuff.
I think this is actually my favorite boss fight, just because of how atypical it is.
Yeah. Especially when starting out, running this magnet ball can be such a troll to control. Because you actually get hit by it if you walk into it, so you want to avoid that. Ooh, nice spawn. There
So
it is.
2-cycle there.
2-cycle is nice. You can get a 1-cycle, but it's really tricky. Also, the problem with that boss actually is that there aren't many health refills before that. There are 2 hearts in the pot. That's it. So once you die, it becomes really tough to get back up to full health for that. So yeah, this is why we visited the tree before Dungeon 3, or after Dungeon 2, I guess. More appropriate. So we can warp back to town easily and get back to the beach. So we're gonna try to save a menu here by using mystery seeds on the torch. Mystery seeds have a 25% chance, I believe, to turn into an ember seed. So if you get lucky, you can actually get that torch with the mystery seeds and use the mystery seed to spawn the black beast, which is just a Moldorm, but it's called a black beast.
But
and save
him. If you get really bad RNG, you can just run out of mystery seeds and have to switch to ember seeds anyway.
Yeah. Fortunately, you don't actually need mystery seeds for anything else anymore, unless you do normal gates. Well, not normal, but the old route, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
So now you can actually try to use all your seeds on it before you actually have to save a little bit. So yeah, that's actually all the jewels. We got 4 jewels, the PlayStation buttons. And now we can put them into the wall to open the gates. In English, the text is way better. In Japanese, I don't know what it says, but in English it says, "Your jewels fit perfectly," which is pretty funny, I guess. I find it pretty funny. So yeah, after Dungeon 5 you have all the seasons, so this is kind of like a puzzle in order to show you the full potential of the season changes and try to get through this forest using them.
And one of the things we do, which isn't strictly necessary in this forest, is to get the level 2 sword, the Noble Sword, which does more damage. And ordinarily, you're supposed to go through this arduous trading sequence to have a Deku Scrub eventually tell you how to get to it. But you can just go to it if you know where it is.
Yeah, the sequence is fixed, which is really nice. So this is the Last Wood section. You just get lost and you have to use a certain sequence of seasons in order to get through the Lost Woods. So yeah, it's pretty easy to remember that the hint you get for that is that you have to go west using the seasons from coldest to warmest. So it's pretty easy to remember. And it's actually the same sequence of seasons that you have to use to get through this forest normally, except you have a different movement pattern. So yeah, now we're on the plateau. And the plateau is really nice. There's a lot of tough enemies walking around here. Jump shoveling is awesome. Once you dig up the thing, you are kind of stuck in your shovel animation, so you can actually jump to start moving earlier, which is really neat.
And this dungeon is Dungeon 6, Ancient Ruins. It's probably my favorite dungeon, even though there's a decent amount of RNG in it.
It's RNG dungeon. If there's one dungeon with RNG, it's this one.
Yeah, and unfortunately there's no RNG manipulation that's worth doing.
There are too many keys. Too many keys in this dungeon. Pretty boring puzzle actually, when you look at it like this. It's really self-explanatory until you drop the ball in the pit and then it's gone and you have to leave and restart.
And if the ball's off screen, you don't even hear a noise, so the key just won't fall and you won't know what happened until you realize you messed up.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
Oh my gosh, those ropes.
Yeah. Ah, the Demos is a troll.
So this is a pretty tight jump here.
Yeah.
It skips going around and hitting that switch that you see on the right side of the room.
But he gets his second try, so that's really nice. Taking a few hits there though, that's unfortunate, but he should be fine, I feel. I think 2.5 hearts.
Yeah, I've been much worse in this position.
Yeah. Really depends, yeah, he plays it safe. Oh, no,
no.
No, está bueno. That room is so annoying. If you get a bad pattern there, you can get screwed on the dark nuts, like you saw.
So we skipped the first boomerang, but here we skip right to the level 2 boomerang, which travels farther and can hurt things instead of just stunning them, and you can control where it
Those
goes.
sea drops though.
And the heart drops, those are really nice to have.
Did he get 3 sea drops there? Did I see that correctly? Or was it 2? I think it was 2. Oh well, still. That's a lot of sea drops.
So the block you see in the room that's different from the other ones, you open that with a key normally, but we skip the key for that. So that's one of the keys we skip. The other one's in Dungeon 7.
It's such a nice key to skip. It's so far away. Yeah, you can also jump slash in this game, but it's kind of tricky, as you saw. The timing is weird.
It is not like an LADX, where your sword hitbox just stays out no matter how high you are.
Yeah.
Good heart drop.
Nice.
Yeah, so interestingly, in this game there are anti-fairies and sparks. If you kill a spark with a boomerang, it turns into a fairy. But if you kill an anti-fairy with a boomerang, it does nothing.
Kills it. That's the only thing.
Yeah, it kills it.
It doesn't drop anything. It's really strange why Capcom did that. They don't know the Zelda lore, I guess. Ooh, that was pretty neat. Neat movement.
Pretty good room there.
Yep. So you definitely don't want to fall down one of these ledges.
Yep, because then you have to re-skip the key that we skipped.
It's actually right before the Indiana Jones room, where the walls close in, so it's not that far.
So this is Vire, everyone's least favorite mini-boss. It's pretty much completely RNG. He can charge straight at you like that, which is the best RNG you can get, but sometimes he will circle around the side or just pop in and out where you can't hit him.
So yeah, with the level 2s for it, you need 3 spin stashes to kill him. And a bomb does slightly less than a spin stash, so you would need 2 bombs.
The other strategy you can do is go for jump spin slashes while he's circling around the side, but it's pretty tight to get a hit in that way.
And going for bombs is the safe strat there, which is pretty consistent once you know how to time your bomb throws.
And this room is pure RNG, 50-50 chance, okay. First try, that's really good.
But an RNG is annoying.
So there are 2 buttons in that room. If you hit the wrong one, ropes fall from the ceiling.
There is no wrong one. It's either wrong or right. It doesn't matter which button you press.
Yeah.
It's RNG and
yeah, it is.
This room is annoying. Once you miss the first normal pattern, it's gonna be tough to get back to the back switch to hit that. It's really annoying speedrun. And that's
There's
why this is
a
RNG.
setup that Z-Master found that you can consistently use to do it in one shot of the boomerang, but you can obviously mess it up.
There are too many keys in the room before that. That's crazy. The other fairy also tried to get away, but luckily Mighty got him.
And you
time.
definitely need the fairy from Manhandla. This is probably the boss that hurts you the most in the game. Maybe along with Onox, but I think I take more damage from Manhandla.
Because of the sands, the moving sands, and you not being able to move while you control your boomerang. It's a bad combination. So the thing about the flowers on his head is they only open when they are not facing you. So that was a really good fight.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
So you have to position yourself accordingly to open the flowers that you want to open. Let's see how this is. It's also funny that it almost looks like the instrument is not an instrument. I've played too much LEDX. The essence is outside, but I actually don't think it's counted as outside. You can't warp out of it. It's like a Maku tree screen.
So in this room you can buffer the boomerang and... Okay, I guess he's not going to do it. But you can buffer the boomerang and shoot it diagonally through that little gap in the blocks to hit the switch instead of having to go around.
And that allows you to get to this pirate's hideout faster, which is really convenient.
Time for desert. So this is similar to earlier in the run where we had to dig up the star ore. There are 4 locations where something can be in an area, and we just have to try all of them until we get it.
As long as you know the sequence for that door, it's really easy. Once you fuck up, there's a pretty stupid mechanic that it's once you make a mistake, it doesn't count that input anymore, and it resets. So if you accidentally do 3 taps on the first one instead of 2, you can't continue your pattern, and you have to restart from the start instead of using like the last 2 pushes you did.
So there are all these sand pits. If you fall in most of the sand pits, well, all but one actually, you get sent to a useless room. But if you go in the correct one, which the skull will tell you about by going crazy, and you got the worst possible RNG here.
Got the 4th pit.
So 4th try. But here you get the pirate spell, which you need.
It's a beautiful fetch quest. It's almost like a trading sequence.
So there's a bit of a funny bit here that you won't notice unless you can read Japanese, where you need this guy to polish your bell, and there's like a yes or no dialogue, and there's one answer that's very polite and one answer that's very rude, and if you pick the rude one, he polishes the bell. If you pick the polite one, he thinks it's rude. and he won't do it for you. So here's the longest cutscene in the game, but you have to text mash through it, so you can't just go get a drink or something. No bathroom breaks.
Unfortunately. At best, it's like 24 seconds, I believe, in this cutscene. Which is not enough for a pee break. I personally tried.
Usually at the beginning of this cutscene, I run to my sink and refill my glass of water and come back, and I have just enough time to do that.
Yeah, that should be possible.
When I'm speedrunning.
This game is pretty weird in its triggers for certain events. Some things just don't spawn if you don't have the essence for the dungeon previous to that.
So the story behind this pirate ship thing actually links into Ages, but what's happening right now is that these skeleton pirates are getting sick to their skeleton stomachs because they have not sailed for a long time.
I thought they were dancing. I can't read Japanese, so I thought they were having a party.
Maybe in Japanese they are dancing. I wouldn't even know.
We need a translator.
Yeah, that's one of the major changes in the English translation.
So yeah, here you can do a nice little, I guess you can call it a sequence break. You can make that jump, which you normally need to cape for, in order to skip going to the stump to the north and change the season to summer. Which is really neat, saves quite a bit of time. So yeah, up next is a trick where you need a Pegasus seed for, so he's saving a little bit of seeds during this section in order to have a few backup.
Until this year, this was the biggest sequence break in the game, and the hardest trick. And this is the second key we skipped.
No, yeah, exactly. This trick allows you to skip the first foe fight in this dungeon. If he gets it. It's really tight, you have to move really well in order to make it in time.
It's really hard to learn, but once you learn it, it's not so bad after that. There, first try.
You got it. Yeah. You saw him pause when the torches went out in order to get a few extra frames. If you do those pauses there, you can actually have a few extra fade out frames of the torches, which gives you just extra movement, a little bit of safety. Oh, nice. Ooh, nice. That's really neat.
Nice.
Second try Armos and the Pegasus seed.
I don't know if Mighty's doing dumb jump or fool's jump. Doesn't
Why
look like
would
it.
anyone even do it?
It's fun.
Here he goes. Oh,
The keys control you really hard in this room.
Yep.
Like that.
and the platform control you. And that's why I like to keep my sword out and not go for fool's jump.
Well, that's why we call it fool's jump.
And
Shout
that's
out
fool's
to
jump.
Hope Is Not Lost. This is his least favorite room in the game.
So yeah, you can actually make it across with ecstasy jump there. If you get right on the edge of the moving platform, which is actually easier than it looks. It kind of stops you before falling off, I believe, so you can line up easier than you would on other jumps.
Yeah, I think it is pixel perfect, but it's not that hard.
Nice, got the trick jumps. Those jumps can be tricky. You have to jump in a pretty specific pattern in order to get it.
And these guys troll you.
Yep. Four keys.
Fairy. I will always remember the time where you got 3 fairies in the room before Vire.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Fairies are a pretty rare drop from enemies, and I got 2 fairies and I got a fairy from the pots. That was really funny. Did I even grab one of them? I don't remember. I think I missed
You got
them.
one of them.
Oh yeah, nice. Lucky. So yeah, this is the first bow fight Mighty is gonna do. We actually skipped the first one, but this is technically the second one. It's a pretty straightforward fight actually. 4 hits and he's done. And spin slashes count double, so only 2 spin slashes.
So, a little tough platforming coming up.
It used to be tougher.
Yeah, this is way easier than it used to be with that little jump that Hope found this year, or maybe last year. I don't remember.
I think it was last year.
Yeah,
It's that
I think
one.
no one started doing it until this year. So when you clink your sword against a wall like that, it moves you actually a bit, well, less than a pixel at a time. So
Yeah.
you have to set up your subpixels, or it makes it easier to set up that jump.
Yeah, that jump is pretty tricky because you don't have an edge of a pit to line up with.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So this is the feels bad man room. If you die in this room, it's a huge pain.
It also means
And-
you have to do post skip again.
I've died in that room many times.
Really unfortunate. But we get to see post skip again. That's always nice. Post skip is a really fun trick to watch.
Yeah, it actually is. Oh no. We get to see it again.
That was really close. So yeah, that's the tricky part about Dungeon 7 if you do post skip. You can't die until you get the mini-boss portal, because otherwise you have to do it again. And it's really not that rare to die in D7. D7 is a really tough dungeon.
Luckily, Mighty got those lucky Pegasus drops, so he won't be too low on seeds.
First try statue, but it's the top left one, so kind of negates out each other. That's a lot of Pegasus seeds. You got an extra random drop there.
Yeah, so that's one of the jumps that we pause buffer, because it's frame perfect. You're not supposed to be able to jump while you're pulling yourself with a magnet, but you can do it on the final frame. And there's Rock's Cape, which lets you jump enormous distances.
It's awesome. Best item in the game. So much fun to fly around with it.
And yes, it is an actual buffer.
I don't think we actually mentioned it, but the level 2 sword can actually break pots, so you don't have to lift them anymore. It's one of the reasons why getting the level 2 sword actually saves time. In this run, it's not only a safety, it actually saves time. Because not only the damage you do is better, so you beat bosses faster, but you can also break pots, so you don't have to do less menus. Which is really convenient. So this is the actual mini-boss fight where the two foes you would have beaten normally team up together and try to blow out all the torches before you can beat them. So if they actually get to blow them all out, you warp back to the entrance, which is bad, of course, in the speedrun. But he got it, so that's nice. Now that he got the mini-boss portal, he can warp back to this part and doesn't have to do post-skip again. So yeah, with post-skip we actually skip this entire section on the left, which has the final key in this dungeon. But we skipped the key earlier, so we have that key now. Nice. Didn't fall there. Having to do those jumps with a Pegasus seed is really tricky, because you just jump either too far or too... not far enough, I guess.
So right here, hardest trick in the game, you just hold right on the D-pad, and you can fall only to the right when you fall through the floor. It doesn't work if you try to the left.
Subpixels. Probably not subpixels, but... who cares? Oh, that waste row. Separate row.
And here's Gliok, another throwback to Zelda 1.
Leok is the hard boss. Really, it's
You can
really
take a
hard
lot of
boss.
damage.
The thing is, you actually want to do even damage on the heads, because if you let them move around for too long, they reattach. So
That was a pretty good Gleok fight.
yep, really nice.
Got the seed of
Really
life.
easy. But once you mess up something, it can go downhill really fast.
Yeah, there's one
it's
attack
crazy.
you can do that puts you the diamond of fire with you in the center. That one's terrible.
So yeah, now we're going to the original place of the Temple of Seasons before it got buried into Subrosia, which is right up here. As you can see, it's no longer a nice, beautiful temple. It's kind of ruined a little bit.
And Mighty's going for animation cancels on the shovel because it's faster to swing your sword than to do the shovel animation. And here's a tricky little jump.
Nice.
He gets it first try.
Awesome.
That one took me forever to learn.
It's a really tough jump. So yeah, that jump allows you to skip changing the seasons to fall or autumn, whatever you want to call it. You American, you, or English, whatever you want. Because fall allows you to cover those pits with leaves, so you come up over that. So yeah, if the temple ruins weren't ruined enough, let's start adding fireballs. Fits perfectly. So yeah, you can actually get to that guy before beating Dungeon 7, but the cave is just empty, the guy is not there. So that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, another funny little bit that someone mentioned in chat is that the Subrosian who throws the bomb into, or in the room where you throw the bomb into the lava, throws some of the most valuable items in the game into the lava.
It's actually really random what he throws in, so every run you will see something different.
Yeah, it's like heart containers, key items, rings.
I missed the jump. These are some really tight jumps in this section.
There's an extremely tight one that you can go for to not have to push those second blocks.
Yeah.
But it's super tough. And as always, keys control you.
So yeah, this is the 8th dungeon in the game. It's actually in Subrosia. Sword and Shield dungeon. Really
Sword
new
and Shield
dungeon.
maze, technically.
Yeah.
It's a really long dungeon, except we now skip about 5 minutes of it.
I always think of it as 2 dungeons in one. That's what
Yeah,
it feels
it pretty
like to
much
me.
is. So, this is, we're about to see a big trick, the largest skip in the game, which was discovered this year. Shoutouts to Flock, and shoutouts to Z Master, who developed some strats for it. So there's one frame perfect input and one 2-frame window input that you both have to do, and you can't actually pause buffer pauses, so it's very precise. It's also not subpixel perfect, but you have to be on the right half of a pixel to be able to do it. So the first thing Mighty's going to do here is fall in a pit deliberately to reset his subpixels. Then he's going to move in a specific way to get his subpixels right. And then he's going to pull out a bomb and run and jump into it.
Yeah, it's a really tough trick. So it's gonna use menus to buffer a little bit. You can't actually frame buffer your the game, but you can item buffer it, so you can try to get on the right frame. You can recognize it while you pause buffer and then buffer your jumps out. So yeah,
there's the
what
right
he's
pixel.
trying to do. Yeah.
I missed the second one.
So close. So yeah, it's really tricky. This trick does skip half of the dungeon and the mini-boss, so it's a really big time save. So it's definitely worth it, even if you still miss it a few times. I'm not sure how many times you can miss it.
It depends on how fast you do the setup.
Yeah, of course. But making this easily skips 5 minutes of the dungeon, so it's a huge time save.
That might be it. Oh, not quite.
No. So yeah, this is the jump that broke the game, I guess.
This is the jump that made me stop running Oracle of Seasons.
It's so late in the run, it's so stupid. But at least you can control it yourself. If you make a mistake, it's your mistake. It's not something the game just tells you, like, nope, you don't get it.
Yeah, the first documented instance of this jump was a 30-minute YouTube video of someone trying it repeatedly and got it at the very end of the video once.
It's a nice video. In the test, it's used to use pit walking, which allows you to walk over pits, or at least the edges of the pits. But we can't do that RTA, so we have to use the bomb jump here to get us that extra little bit of distance to get across.
There you go. There it
Nice.
is, HSS skip.
It's a lot of... He took a lot of damage though, so he needs to be careful. Oh, you pushed the button, nice. Pushing that
Wow.
button makes sure that if you die, you can actually just walk over the bridge instead of having to do HSS skip again.
So we've been saying HSS skip a lot without actually explaining what that stands for. It stands for Hyper Slingshot, which is the dungeon item for this dungeon.
Hyper stupid
Uh,
skip.
Yeah, hyper stupid skip. I thought it was a half of Sword and Shield skip at first because this dungeon is Sword and Shield maze. Z Master came up with the name.
Unfortunately, the beautiful music of the flute kills the boss voices. So, rip them, but fortunately for us, it makes it pretty easy to get through that room.
And upcoming is a lot of minecart action.
Well, first we have the Ghost Armos. There are like, I believe it's 4 patterns you can have. Yeah, this is a lot of zigzagging, which is not the optimal pattern. But it doesn't really matter that much. Just a second or 3, I believe, difference. So yeah, the thing about HSS skip is we actually get to bring extra keys here into this section. Normally you don't have any keys when you enter this, but now we have 2 keys, which allows us to skip a few keys in this section. And it also skips having to throw all the ice blocks in all the sections. You can skip the top right section here, because that section is only used to get a small key, and we actually have that. So that's really convenient. Yep.
Okay.
It's gonna be like 10 minutes still until he gets there, so he still has to finish this dungeon and then go to Onyx's castle and beat Onyx up.
It is actually possible to skip one of the ice blocks without HSS skip, but it's a really stupid setup where you have to get hit by a fire keys.
Or a bomb jump.
Or bomb, yeah.
Bomb jump is way more consistent than a keys.
Yeah. But I don't know if anyone's ever done that one in a run, because it's kind of stupid. And then we found HSS
Take
skip.
like 20 seconds. So it's not worth it anyway. So yeah, with that ice block, the way to the boss is clear.
And this boss is Medusa Head, which is actually pretty free. There's a setup you can do where you will not take any damage, and you will always be able to hit her. And it's only slightly suboptimal, so we'll see what Mighty does.
Nice.
Yeah, this was the one I used.
Oh, you got a hit off, so it's fine. Once you get a hit off while Medusa Head is spinning around, she will disappear. So luckily he got frozen with his sword out, so he got a hit off, which stopped Medusa Head from spinning around.
Yeah, you have to chase her into like a corner of the room before she despawns and does something else.
Yeah. It takes a really long while for her to despawn if you don't hit her. You can also stun her with Pegasus Seeds. Not many people know that. So yeah, from here, you first have to get back to the Meku tree. With all the essences, his power is back to normal and he can give you his seed, I guess. Yeah. There it is. And with the macro seed, you can actually penetrate this barrier. So that's why we actually need to collect all the essences, unfortunately. I believe you only need the 8th essence in order for the macro tree to give you your seed. I believe someone said that. I haven't tried it myself though. But unfortunately you actually need all the essences to get to that essence, so we have to get all of them. So yeah, this is Onyx's castle. In terms of a dungeon, it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of like a gauntlet. You have 3 rooms with enemies that you have to clear out before you can advance to the next one.
This room is actually glorious if you have this hyper slingshot, because you can shoot Gale Seeds in 3 at a time in a fan and just teleport all the Wizrobes away. But now we skip it.
More floor masters.
And here's the boss that we kind of skipped in Dungeon 2. We have to fight him again here.
Nice, got a good pattern. Nice.
I missed the last hit.
Final bomb. So close. So yeah, this is the final boss fight. We have Onyx with his ball and chain. There's actually 3 phases to this fight. In the first phase, he spins his ball and chain around, and you can't actually hit him with normal slashes. You actually have to do spin slashes, even with the noble sword. And he has a few attacks that he can do. He can throw his ball and chain around when you walk in front of him. He can actually shoot tornadoes at you, or he can jump and make rubble drop.
So in this second phase, you're supposed to use the Rod of Seasons to bat the crystal away, since it does damage to you if you hit it. But it also happens that you can get 2 spin slashes worth of hits on Onox at a time if you slash the crystal, so we do that and just take the damage.
Yeah, it's really fast. It also prevents him from doing any of his other attacks usually, so it's usually safer to even do that, even when starting out. Final phase, Dragon Onyx. It's a really neat fight, especially in the speedrun. You can jump from claw to claw.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And he needs 8 spin slashes and he got 3. So once he gets the final hit, then the time is up. That's 4, 5. So yeah, there are 2 attacks where you can actually get up on his claw, which is the one where he drops his claw, of course, and the one where he side sweeps across the screen.
We call this attack the bad attack. It takes a long time and it can hurt you, but Mighty was good and avoided all the damage.
6. Ah, he missed the jump. That's gonna cost a lot of time. So this bad attack, he only does that when he's lower than half health. So it's really annoying. 1 more hit and then time.
Time.
That was the time.
GG's.
You finished with a time of 2:01:01.
Nice. Good job. That was really close to sub 2 also. Unfortunately, post skip, I believe, was the major time loss for that. And dying after post skip. Yeah.
HSS skip took a few tries too, but that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah. Not sub 1. Being a bit ambitious.
And with that, we finish Oracle of Seasons. The Oracle has been saved. Mghtymth finishes with a final time of 2:01:01. Guys, any final words, final shoutouts from you?
Shoutouts to Dren for actually still being the best at this game. He has a 3rd place right now, but if he started running it again, he would easily take 1st. So come back, Dren, one day.
Shoutouts to Mighty, great run, awesome.
Yeah, shoutouts
Thanks
to
for
Mighty.
having me on thanks for having me on commentary. It was a blast. I really enjoyed it. So.
And also
Edit.
shoutouts to you guys for commentating. Mighty is pretty happy probably. His mic is suddenly not working and hasn't been working all around, but shoutouts to you. Thank you a lot, guys. And with
No
this,
problem.
we go into a quick break, and upcoming is now Green Uprooter with his run of Skyward Sword, commentated by Gymnast. See you soon.